Hello, welcome to the Dear Creator YouTube page. If this is your first time here, I am your host, Tina Daniela, your self-investing storyteller. And today I want to go over some content for us to review together. At the end of reviewing today's content or just watching today's content, I'm going to present to you 3 questions or 3 writing assignments that you can use in order to enhance your own self-awareness journey. I'm inviting you all to my self-awareness journey, which is really heavily focused on my relationship with faith, but it's also about critical thinking and about the content of my character. And maybe there are some things that I need to challenge as it relates to my core belief system. And maybe there's some things that I need to keep. And so this could be a different journey for you. It might not be heavily focused on faith for you. It could be just heavily focused on the ideas and the content that you consume. But each experience here is a practice. We're practicing how we respond. We're practicing listening to ourselves. We're practicing different triggers in a way where maybe we don't have the outlet to go to therapy, but we want to start somewhere. We want to start with quality questions. We want to start with the things that we consume and how we consume. And so that's all that we get here. I am not licensed in quality questions, but as a person who experiences Earth and lives on Earth, I can say that I find quality questions to be helpful. And so I want to challenge us all to get a little bit more out of the statements that's said to us about life. So think positive. How do we start practicing that? Start making better decisions. What does that look like? Pull your bootstraps up by the bootstrap, whatever that means. When people give us these definitive things to do, like have more faith. What does it actually mean to do that? How do we practice these things? So those are the type of things, those are the type of storylines I want us to dig into and at least make some effort towards seeing if it has an impact on our lives if we are intentional about it. So today's video is coming from the speaker in today's video. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've never heard of him before. This content was shared online. But if you know about Joe Dispenza, if you ever engage with any of his content and you want to give us a full story, be sure to let us know in the comments. But for now, we're just going to watch this video together and then we'll review the questions. All right, let's go.
Good evening. I want you to turn to the person next to you. I want you to look him in the eye and introduce yourself as a genius. Let's begin. Now, geniuses, so happy to be with you this evening. I have a few questions for you before we begin. How many people in this audience actually believe in the idea that the way you think has some effect on your life? That your thoughts create your life? You believe that, yes? So how many people here actually woke up this morning and consciously created a future? You know, the biggest reason why people don't do it is because you don't really believe it's true. You see, if you knew on a gut level that it was absolutely true, would you ever miss a day? Come on. And would you ever let any thought slip by your awareness that you didn't want to experience? So your brain, according to neuroscience, is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of your environment. It's a record, an artifact of your past. So if you believe this, then does your environment control your thinking, or does your thinking control your environment? So if you wake up in the morning and you get out of bed on the same exact side as you did the day before, you shut the alarm clock off with the same finger, you slip into your favorite slippers, you shuffle into the bathroom and you use the toilet like you always do, then you walk over to the mirror and you look at yourself to remember who you are, then you get into the shower and you wash yourself in the same routine way, then you groom yourself to look like everybody expects you to look, then you go downstairs and you drink coffee out of your favorite mug. Then you drive to work the same way as you did the day before. You see the same people that push the same emotional buttons. You do the exact thing that you know how to do and you memorize and can do so well that you're an expert at. Then you hurry up and rush home so you can hurry up and check your emails, so you could hurry up and go to bed, so you could hurry up and do it all over again. Now, here's my question. Did your brain change at all that day? We could say that you were thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, that create the same experiences, that produce the same emotions, but secretly expecting something to change in your life. Would you agree? So then, as the environment turns on different circuits in your brain, you begin to think equal to your environment. As you see the same people and go to the same places and do the same things at the same time, it's the external environment that's turning on different circuits in your brain, causing you to think equal to everything that you know. And as long as you think equal to everything that's familiar or known to you, what do you keep creating more of? Same life. Now, the quantum law is still applying to you. You're just thinking equal to everything that you know, and you keep creating more of the same. To change, to truly change, is to think greater than your environment. And every great person in history knew this. Whether it was William Wallace or Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Queen Elizabeth I or Joan of Arc, they all had a vision. They all had an idea. Couldn't see it, couldn't smell it, couldn't taste it, couldn't feel it. But it was alive in their mind. It was so alive in their mind that they began to live as if that reality was actually happening now. So can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already happened? Neuroscience says it's absolutely possible. Now, your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. It's that simple. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today, you, has created the present personal reality called your life. Would you agree? Would you also agree then, if you wanted to create a new personal reality, that on a fundamental level you would have to change the thoughts that you are thinking, the behaviors and habits that you're demonstrating, and the emotions that you've memorized that's become part of your identity? And most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it never works. We have to become somebody else. So then, as you keep thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, and living by the same experiences that produce the same emotions, there's a principle in neuroscience that says nerve cells that fire together wire together. And if you keep repeating the same states of mind and body over and over again, your brain begins to fire in the same sequences, in the same patterns and same combinations. And whenever you make your brain work in a certain way, that's called mind. Mind is the brain in action. So as you remind yourself every day who you think you are, you're causing your brain to fire in the exact same ways. And as they fire and wire in the same patterns over time, the brain moves into a very finite signature, and that's called your personality. Now, that box in your brain isn't literally a box, but it's the most commonly wired, neurologically fired programs that run redundantly because we keep doing the same things over and over again. To change your mind, then, is to make the brain work in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, to begin to make the brain work differently. And the one ingredient that allows us to do that is knowledge or information. Because every time you learn something new, you make a new connection in your brain. That's what learning is. Learning is forging new connections. Remembering is maintaining or sustaining those connections. So now, every time you have a thought, you make a chemical. And if you have a great thought, or an unlimited thought, or a joyful thought, you turn on a set of circuits in your brain that fires in a very specific sequence, pattern, and combination, that produces a level of mind, that turns on another part of the brain that makes a chemical for you to begin to feel exactly the way you were just thinking, great or unlimited or joyful. Now, if you have a negative thought or an unhappy thought or a self-depreciating thought, you turn on a different set of circuits and a different combination, a different sequence and a different pattern that produces a different level of mind. And the brain then begins to make a different batch of chemicals that signals the body for you to begin to feel exactly the way you were just thinking, negative or unhappy or unworthy. So the moment you begin to feel the way you think, because the brain is in constant communication with your body, you begin to think the way you feel, which makes more chemicals for you to feel the way you think, and then you think the way you feel, and then you feel the way you think, and then you think the way you feel. And some people do this for 20 or 30 or 40 years. Now, the redundancy of that cycle over time creates what I call a state of being. And a state of being is when your mind and body are working together, or your thoughts and feelings are aligned to a concept. So thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And as people get caught in this cycle of thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking, over time, they condition their body to memorize that emotion as well as the conscious mind. And whenever the body knows as well as the mind, that's called a habit. A habit is when your body is the mind. Now, 95% of who you are by the time you're 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors, set of emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, attitudes that run just like a computer program. So 5% of your conscious mind begins to work against 95% of what you've memorized. So the person wants to think positively, but they're feeling negatively. They want to create their dream board, and put up their future life, but they feel unworthy. That's mind and body in opposition. We have to recondition the body to a new mind.
All right, so tell me your thoughts. I'm going to share about 3 of them in the comments of this video, which was posted on a page called manifestation_81. Let's see what this page is about. Your destiny is in your hand to manifest wealth and abundance. I know for some who believe in faith, they don't like words like manifestation and things like that. But when we're looking at the content of what we're sharing here, there's something for all of us to learn. Even if you are against any content that you are watching, always look for what you can learn, or what is it that you want to express in a mindful way. So what I notice when I'm reading some comments is people will have something to say when they're really passionate about it. That's usually what we get, somebody who really wants to comment and share how they feel. And there's room for a person to share these thoughts, but it might be more helpful if we can understand your why and how is it helpful to others without you belittling anything or making someone else's truth, inflated. Maybe it is something that they're saying that's wrong. Supposedly, if they say that the sky is blue and for sure the sky is pink, maybe you are right. I think it's why are my words coming out so long? What I think would be most helpful is if we're going to share this content, that we have these core belief system, is the way that we decide to share it so it can be digested and received by someone if we think it's true. This is why I find some things that could possibly be helpful to others to be harmful, because the way that you send it to me, if it's always with this contention, if it's always with this, sarcasm or belittling, that's the energy that is presented to me. How can I receive it? Why would I choose to receive anything like that? Why is that something that I would navigate to? And I actually get this from my relationship with the scriptures. So although I can count maybe 2 particular stories where it's like, why you say it like that, Jesus? Most of the time I see Jesus will present questions, quality questions. Like my favorite story, which you will always hear on this channel, is when everybody is coming against this woman, telling her she is a sinner and she should be, stoned. The question is, who is without sin? That was the question positioned back to them. Who is without sin? If you are without sin, you be the one that throw the first stone. No one could throw the first stone. And I'm so interested in why that story should just be like on all the major networks and media outlets, because who is without sin, right? And I think we are leveling different sins. We know that some people believe one is higher than the other, But even as we decide to engage with the world and we realize that, yes, I might not be sinning in the area that I'm judging, but am I sinning in an area? And sinning can be different for other people. Am I disconnected myself from God? Am I disconnected myself from my better version? If you are without sin, throw the first stone. If you are not without sin, goodbye, and give opportunity and space for someone to walk into sin no more. Now, let's look at some of these comments. There's not too many on here. It doesn't look like as active page as far as comments, but I'll just share a few. One says, I like myself. We've made it this far and get along real good. Thanks anyway. I think this is funny when people, sometimes, okay, let's just go to the next comment. This one says, he just told us how to change our lives and watch few people do. And then this last one says, this is the most profound speech I have listened to just when I needed to hear these words. What a marvel I am and deep. You just taught me how to change my life and watch me do it today. It is the 30th of October, 2024. Okay. So those are a few comments, not too much, that I am about. Okay. But I will say that when I first watched this video, the first thing that came to my mind or to my attention is, this is the reason why I do not invest in this astrology and the thoughts behind astrology as I did in the past. One is it keeps you stuck. And these are the behaviors that are assigned to this particular zodiac sign. And I watch a lot of content. I don't know if any of you watch the shows, Pop the Balloon. If I can find some clips, I'll put them in here. But I watched a show called Pop the Balloon. And what I've noticed is that people are disconnected themselves from maybe a potential partner because of the zodiac sign.
Your name and age, and what's your zodiac sign?
My name is Jay, 31, and I'm a Gemini.
No, I'm just kidding. just joking. I love to do that to make everyone feel scared because they are scared of zodiac. So.
This is dumb, but I do want to know your guys' signs.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't gonna pop you based off your sign. I just want to know.
What's your sign?
I was gonna ask you first.
No, I asked you first.
Well,
I beat you to the first.
I'm gonna guess. You're giving Gemini or Sagittarius or Capricorn.
Definitely Gemini.
Okay, I felt Gemini first.
Definitely Gemini.
And that's another.
And so that goes a lot into, we are predicting that a certain person is going to be a certain way. And some people are owning, yes, I am a Gemini. Yes, I am an Aquarius. Yes, I am a Leo. And this is what I have to add too, is that there is some truth to some of this. There is some truth to zodiac signs. What I dismiss myself from is being attached to it. And I don't make it my God. I do believe that there is something that I can break through. There are limitations when it comes to being defined by a zodiac sign that's going to hide potential for me to tap into something that I can do. If I'm always going to be limited by the worst part, even the best part of my zodiac signs, does that mean I can't tap into what's considered something good in another zodiac sign? All of it kind of overlaps with one another, but if I'm being honest about just my experience with zodiac signs, I do find some validity between certain types of signs, even engaging with the same type of sign over and over again with the same type of situation and then seeing it shift when you deal with a different sign. I believe that there is some validity there and there's answers all around our life. So I've never really just made it my God. I never wanted to own that I have to be this way just because this is my zodiac sign, or people have to see me this way because of my zodiac sign. I would like to challenge myself. If there is something limited in my zodiac sign, how do I get out of that behavior? I don't want to make it so that these behaviors that I'm doing over and over at a time is making it so someone can predict my every move. Maybe I want it to be that I want to tap into a life that is more abundant, and it's going to require different mindsets, different behaviors, different decision making that could be outside of what's been labeled for me, not only by zodiacs, but maybe by myself with my own limited thoughts and beliefs, or about other people outside of me because what they assume about me based off of a book that they have, right? We're all navigating through this life and we see a black man or we see a white man or a Chinese man or a little person or a big person, we all make the assumptions about what their habits are and who they are, because we've all just decided to be a part of this message and say that it's true. We've all decided to say, yes, we all agree this is a cheer, so it is a cheer. That makes sense. Language is going to help us communicate. When it comes to our personality and who we want to build, we have creativity here. We can create something different. We can have different experiences. These are the choices that we have. We can choose life and death with the way that we speak. We can choose life and death with the way that we decide to eat. And even the perspective. So I try to be careful about even saying what I just said, life and death what we eat. So there's an assumption that we could eat these bad foods, and then that bad food is going to make us chunky, or the bad food is not going to be good for our health. Make an assumption that somebody who's been eating healthy all their lives, or seemingly healthy all their lives, are in the best health, or someone who seemingly ate bad all their lives are in bad health. Maybe they're the way that their DNA, which is something interesting in our genetics, make it so that they have a what is it called when you have like the support system when you want to bounce off? I wish I knew the word. It's not here, but there is something that's helping them be able to make these a buffer. Ooh, yes. I love it when the word comes. There's a buffer for them with their bad decisions, that they can make these bad decisions and end up in the good. I think that's an interesting concept. This concept about how we have different genetics. When I look at the science and I go back to the root, I'm just like, but why? But how? Like, why is it that these people just have better genetics and then have a better buffer system? Think about that in my everyday life. There's some things I just know that I cannot do. If I do them, I do not have a buffer for them. I will be the one who gets caught up in the negatives of that outcome. And you look in the world and it's like, dang, but they can do that. For instance, we're talking about a high metabolism. Somebody can eat and never see the consequences that someone on the other side who eats the same exact food like they do and won't have that same response. I think life is just interesting that way. And so with that being said, when I'm looking and engaging with other people, I'm not going to limit anyone by their zodiac sign. I don't want to be limited by my zodiac sign. I use this information for intel and fun and creativity. I did at one point. Honestly, at this point, this is not interesting to me. I think it's all just experiencing people for who they are, having conversations with people, learning them by just taking out all of this assumption that we can have for them and just digging and learning them a little bit more. That's all that I have for today. I just wanted us to look at this video and look at ourselves. So the question 1 is, does your environment control your thinking, or does your thinking control your environment? This was brought out in the video, and I would love for us to explore this answer for ourselves. And then this next question is, what's one thought or belief you've memorized over time that no longer serves you? And how might you start replacing it with a new thought? Okay. And now here's where we're going to try our best to make sense of these new thoughts that we're going to create. So 1, if we're sitting in our room, we're watching this video, we're saying, I think I'm developing habits that aren't good for me. Where did I get that original thought? Who told me that thought? Let's identify that thought as our first action. The second thing is we want to start creating a log of moments that support any new belief that we have. So let's say the new belief is, I believe that I am smart. I make good decisions. Start writing. If you don't believe that and you're trying to find evidence to believe it, look for it or create it. Do something that's smart. Find something that supports this new belief system and keep a log of it. And make it so every day that you're depositing that. And the last thing that I would suggest is to record these statements. So when you have a list of statements that's against yourself, these behaviors that doesn't really serve you, maybe it's not necessarily negative, but it's something that doesn't really serve you. Write out that list of things on one side of your piece of paper, and then turn that paper on the other side. How to reframe all of them. Be creative. Even if it's something that you don't believe in yet about yourself, be creative and reframe that thought. But that is all that I have for today. Thank you all for sharing your time with me and getting to the end of the video. If you have made it this far, I would appreciate if you click on the like button or subscribe so people can join me in some of my thinking games, and leave a yellow heart in the comments so I know that you made it this far with me. Until next time, hold on to you as much as you can. Hold on to your health, your well-being, and your mind. Be mindful. Bye.